Hey guys, Desolator Magic back with another great video. This time it's a sequel. If you didn't see it, links down in the description to part 1, I guess you could say now, of top 10 people you don't want to see at Friday Night Magic. You know, once in a while you just gotta call them out. I mean, you gotta start naming names and pointing fingers. Just kidding, but since my last top 10 list was pretty popular about this topic, and also mostly because I forgot one entry that I really wanted to be on it, it's time for another top 10 people you don't want to see at Friday Night Magic. Also, people left some really good suggestions in the comment section, and I can identify with, seeing these people. So, as was the case last time, though, I must remind you, keep in mind that this is not meant to be a completely serious rant about actual problems that need to change. This is not the Why 3 Colors Rune Standard video, which was absolutely serious and supported by actual evidence. This is only a half-serious, half-joking list, so we can all laugh at ourselves and the MTG community as a whole, so don't get all angry and start writing hate comments down below. Oh, except for number 2. Those people need to get it together, so definitely watch the video until at least number 2, because I'm calling those people out, and there just is no excuse. Let's start with, of course, number 10, the Can I Borrow This Guy? Now, I know Magic is expensive and not everybody has, tons of money to spare. I certainly don't have money rolling in left and right. But when the same people ask me if I have a spare set of sleeves for like the 100th time in a row, or a spare set of cards or dice or tokens or anything else that they could borrow or just have, it sometimes annoys me. Only sometimes, because there are some cases when it kind of makes sense. Now, first of all, they're not spending even $1 at the store to help them stay in business. And do they really not have $1 for a set of tokens or like some cheap rares or something? I mean, people don't ask me for like $40 cards. I mean, come on, but do they really not have like 50 cents for one Fabled Hero? I mean, come on. If somebody's that broke, like maybe you shouldn't be at FNM, like you should be trying to make money or something, or like ensuring that you can acquire food, for example. But of course, that's never the case. I mean, these people have money, they just know that they can mooch off of other people because that's what they've always done, so why spend the money? Now, I have no problem giving away free commons, uncommons, and tokens, because I have thousands and thousands of them. But when it comes to like sleeve packs, I mean, really, it's not like I get them for free, so why would I give them out for free on a regular basis? I give all kinds of new gear to new players to lessen the impact and like the financial barrier to entering the MTG world, but the perpetual moochers definitely made this list for always asking me for basically everything they need. Number 9 is the person who sits down at the table and brought with them their entire card collection, wardrobe, accessory set, every token ever made, a playmat, a smaller playmat for on top of their bigger playmat, a full salad bar or breakfast buffet, and they take like 5 minutes and 2 tables to set up one match. Now, I love my dice collection, and I love having like all my trades on me so that if somebody asks for a card, I have them, but I do actively try to be as compact and portable as possible because my local gaming store is sometimes pretty crowded. It's a large place, but a lot of people show up every week, and it kind of fluctuates, so you never know what you're going to get. You just can't assume you can take up a whole bunch of spots. Of course, this was more true before Khans of Tarkir's 3 colors just ruined the whole game and made lands too expensive and all the decks went hyper-powered and basically everybody stopped showing up. But back when people actually did show up to FNM, it was a problem. Let's move on to number 8, the person who still doesn't know the rules after like 3 years of playing. Now, I have no problem with people who just started playing, and honestly, it takes months to learn the rules enough to play without problems or questions, like a good percentage of the time, but some people never ever put in the effort to learn the intermediate rules of like how phases work and how the stack works and how certain spells resolve, even how mechanics work, like even evergreen mechanics that are in every set. The usual cause is they just don't have anyone to sit down with them and actually explain it and let them ask questions and like really interactively learn it. So if you know this person, please do help out. Most people have a hard time learning complex things from a technical document on the web, like just a forum post or a list or like the actual rules guide from Wizards. So there are, however, some people who just simply aren't interested in learning the proper rules and mechanics of cards because they know their opponent will always just fill them in every time they make a mistake, but they still want to play the game for some reason, and so those people made it onto my list because they're just an anomaly and I can't explain their logic. Now, number 7 is really funny because this actually just happened. This is what made me think of it and put it on the list, but I won't go into the actual story, but you guys know exactly where I'm going with this. It's the person who brings along someone who is either completely unprepared and inexperienced, or obviously does not want to play Magic, or even be there. Now, when it's their girlfriend or boyfriend, it's hilarious because, you know, they're couples and they're all, you know, got to do everything together, and then one of them is just kind of sort of getting into it because like their boyfriend is into it, but they really don't like the game at all. They're just kind of forcing it. You know, it's kind of like if you take your girlfriend fishing and she's totally not into that. Oh man, I find that funny, but that is not the story I was thinking of. Let's just say it's not the easiest thing in the world to find a two-headed giant partner when you've got, I guess, an odd number of friends instead of an even number of friends. And so when you just kind of drag somebody along, well, I thought the kid was going to like slip me a note that says, "Get me out of here, I want to kill myself." Like he kind of had that look on his face. But anyway, once in a while you do get that person that was just convinced to come by their friend because they wouldn't stop nagging them about it. And then, you know, they clearly have no interest in the game and they were just forced to sort of start learning it. And it takes like 50 minutes to complete one round because they made like 10 rules violations per turn, and they keep like tapping their creatures to block and dropping 2 lands per turn and reading spells wrong and casting sorceries at instant times. I mean, I've seen it all, and in the same game. It does get pretty annoying to play against. I mean, I consider myself like a pretty good, experienced, like know what I'm doing player, but I'm not against, you know, teaching new people how to play, and I'm very tolerant of them making mistakes, obviously, but this is like overboard. I mean, it's even worse when they force a tie because of a time limit, like a time limit, time is up tie, because you didn't even finish one game, and then you absolutely cannot get in the top 5 at that tournament with like a great new deck that you just built that you think's going to do well, and then this person basically ruined it. So remember, friends don't let friends play MTG against their will. Moving on up the ladder of annoyingness, we've got number 6, the person who doesn't focus on the match. Now, some people legitimately have ADD, but most of them are just rude. I don't answer my phone, text people, check Facebook, or set up trades in the middle of a match, or at least not unless I'm playing somebody where, like, we're both tied for last place or something, we're both well out of it, we're just playing for fun and for something to do, or our ride hasn't showed up yet, is usually what my opponent says. And then, you know, whatever. We've basically resorted to casual play. But you may recall from the last list that I don't care for the, you know, every FNM match is the final table at the Pro Tour types that are in like Olympic level focus mode. But when I really want to finish the round so I can grab some food on time without showing up late, or when I know that our decks are really, really, you know, I don't know, similar, they're just going to take the full 50 minutes for one of us to win, I don't think checking your Facebook in the middle of a match is a great idea. I will break for looking at funny photos of people's cats on their phones, though, because that trumps absolutely everything. Actually, most people don't know that that's actually a rule. I mean, you don't see it very often on the live broadcast, but if somebody pulls out their phone and starts showing off like cute pictures of cats or cats with like funny captions and stuff, you have to stop playing. It is a rule. Anyway, let's move on to number 5, the lazy records keeping person that keeps making constant mistakes. This was recommended in the comment section. I had to include it because I've seen it once in a great while at my LGS, depending upon who they let run the computer. When the staff just doesn't feel like putting in the effort to report wins or losses correctly, or like forgets to check people in, or forgets to drop people between rounds, and then everybody sits down, starts a game, and then they have to redo the pairings, everybody gets pretty mad because sometimes they don't even reset the game timer because they still want to close the shop on time. So it's like on them, and then they're not really going to do anything about it. So do keep in mind, though, that the scorekeeping software is very poorly designed, and Wizards hasn't done anything to fix it. It could be a lot easier to use, and I know software design, to say the least, and that is a travesty. Like, that's like first-year programmer type of stuff. It's just terrible. That said, some staff members I've had to deal with just have a bad attitude. They're mopey, and they obviously wish they weren't there. After running FNM for so long, I kind of get it, but it ruins the mood and sometimes like affects the outcome, obviously. You know, kind of if they don't care, like, why should I care? Like, I feel weird for caring about the outcome if they aren't even going to check me in correctly. Now, I have worked retail in the past. Now, keep in mind, these are hobby shops. So usually the person running the computer is also the person who has to sell things to the general public on a daily basis. Now, after I've done that in the past, I hate all humankind. I hope we all go extinct in a global catastrophe because honestly, we don't deserve to go on as a society because working retail just like crushes any hope you had for humanity. But I think I could hide all that behind a fake smile for like 5 hours to run FNM every week. I mean, it's not that hard. You gotta hide it inside a little bit. I mean, otherwise people know you hate your job. Plus, it's MTG. MTG is fun. It's a riot. I love playing it. I mean, I get into it. I like the cards. I get excited. And really, the staff should too. We're getting up there because next is number 4, the know-it-all deck builder whose decks are awful and never work. I had to add that last part to the phrase because I'm definitely the first half. I am definitely the know-it-all deck builder in case you haven't caught on yet. You guys need to watch more of my videos if you haven't caught that. If somebody tells me my flawless deck with like an hour of math behind it needs to have a 7-cost sorcery swapped into it because clearly I'm wrong if I don't put it in, and then of course I politely explain that I'd have to pull another spell and that would drop the kill spell percentage by 33%, which lowers the amount that you draw by turn 10, which is what the deck needs to survive and win, and yet they still insist I'm wrong, and they're right of course no matter what they say, and it's a bit annoying. They then, of course, build decks with their amazing knowledge of deck building and just flawed strategy, and the deck never, ever works. Now, I do know one particular person that I'm thinking of that's always building decks that they're just, like, awfully proud of, and they have killer combos. So it's not, like, a bad deck, but it is because they're all so unlikely to go off in a game that they're just unrealistic decks. They're unreliable and inconsistent. At least they don't go around telling people that their decks suck and like what they need to change on top of it, but they do play their own decks and lose like 5 straight games against me and then claim either the deck just isn't working or it's just bad luck or the way they shuffled or you know the excuses. Well, it isn't working because the combos like literally can't go off until 10 turns into the game minimum, and from a probability standpoint it's probably not going to go off at all. The deck's just going to kind of fizzle out. But then I've had this type of person even say, hey, they would have won if they weren't playing against my, quote, overpowered deck. You know, my $15 gimmick deck that I built in like 5 minutes so that people don't whine about playing against an OP deck. I have like serious tournament decks, and then I have like, I'm a Pokemon trainer in the very first Pokemon game, and I have 6 poison types because that's my thing decks. So I always call them NPC decks because it's like, if there was a Magic the Gathering game, I would be the NPC that has to duel you, and I have like this idiotic theme, or like from Yu-Gi-Oh! The show, this is my theme in my deck. They're all pink and cute, or they all are vampires. Or I build those decks, and I don't take them to FNM, I just build them. But oh my gosh, is that an OP deck against their deck that's just not standing any kind of chance. But I use proper math in every deck I build. I mean, I don't build decks that don't work. I mean, I might do a gimmick, but it's still going to work. It's still an effective deck that has a chance of winning. There's nothing wrong with being proud of a deck idea you came up with, because at least you're not a net decker. But do learn basic math, take others' advice if it isn't working, if they actually know what they're talking about, and stop telling people that your non-working deck is better than theirs if you clearly suck at deck building. Number 3 is actually the clueless but arrogant deck builder's cousin. The you lost because my net deck is just better after an unbelievable upset suck-out victory guy. I know these are getting like longer and more specific, but that's just how this list was written. Let me explain. 3 times now, I've versed a person, this is actually 3 different people, who won with their OP net deck. They're all so proud that they're running the number 1 deck or whatever, in their own mind. And they actually had a disadvantage against my deck type. Like, they're running an all-creature deck, and I'm running an all-kill deck in creature removal. Like, I should have won. And I only lost because I had, like, 2 lands on the field, or, like, couldn't draw a single kill spell, or, some just horrific anomaly of probability. And it was basically a 1-player game the whole time. I've had all 3 of these people say, oh, I need to work on my deck building, or I need to focus on playing better, or I need to look up better decks online and play with those. Ooh, that's a good way to piss me off. I really wanted to climb over the table and punch these idiots. I know a hell of a lot more about deck building than some net decker who thinks they're like so great because they win a slightly above average amount of games by copying other people's work. So I never let this kind of player get away with that kind of comment. So one of the times, this was like a third-degree burn sent back at this guy. I said quite loudly for everybody at the table to hear that, with 2 lands on the field, my deck lost because mine is worse than yours. Yours is so much better than mine, and the 2 lands had nothing to do with it. And it's like a bad deck design. That's funny because there's actually 21 lands in my deck. So really deck building wasn't a factor at all, and neither was your skill level. I pretty much beat myself by not drawing another land, and it wasn't even my fault. That's just random probability happening. So you try winning, with your deck with 2 lands on the field. Now, I started with these 2 lands in my opening hand, so it's not a mulligan decision either. My deck just decided to kick me in the nuts this game. Then I told him something that will remain in MTG history, at least at my local gaming store, probably forever. I said, okay, apparently you think that this is the magical land of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where Yugi can top deck the exact card that he needs at any given moment just by sheer effort and willpower and skill. Well, back in the real world, I lost because I drew 0 lands, and that's really the end of it. Everyone, of course, burst out laughing because we've all seen Yu-Gi-Oh! On TV or Netflix or whatever, and they knew I was right. And they basically have been giving him crap about it ever since. Yeah, they made sure to let him know what a complete jerk he was being and just how completely clueless all of his comments were. I mean, like I said, that was a third-degree burn I dished out on him. I mean, I'm not going to just say, oh, yeah, you're better, oh, whatever, that's your opinion, and walk away. No way. He actually may never have recovered. I hope he's dead, actually. Next, we're moving on to the number 2, which you may recall I referenced at the beginning of this video. Let me just preface it by saying other YouTubers who talk about MTG have addressed this very sensitive topic politely so as not to offend anybody because they, quote, don't know everybody's situation. I am not most YouTubers, and fortunately, I actually live in the real world, so I'm going to tell you what I really think of these people. I'm, of course, talking about the smelly guy. We all know the smelly guy at FNM. I don't think your LGS was lucky enough to not have a smelly guy. If you did, consider yourself very lucky and just use your imagination about what I'm talking about. So, people always say, oh, you don't know their situation. You don't know where they came from. Okay, let me break it down. There are 2 reasons to be the smelly guy as far as I see it. 1, you are literally homeless, in which case, why the hell are you playing MTG? Get a job. 2, you're just a lazy, disgusting pig who can't take 60 seconds to brush your damn teeth, let alone do laundry or take a shower. Seriously, how does this type of person function in a society or go to a job when people can smell you from 10 feet away? Did nobody tell this type of person the entire time when they were growing up that they should, maybe make sure their bodily odor doesn't offend people, doesn't make them want to throw up, that they might be around people, they might have to go out in public sometimes. I mean, this is pretty basic stuff. I mean, that really never came up once. I mean, they never took middle school health class, which taught how to not smell like a pile of human garbage 101. There is absolutely no excuse to repeatedly show up to FNM smelling awful or blasting bad breath at everyone. Get it together, you disgusting slobs, if this is you. Now, if you're saying Desolator, that's not very nice. You have to be supportive of these people. Oh, you mean the people whose disgusting personal health level probably caused the last flu outbreak in your town? If you're such a lazy slob that you spread diseases and literally up America's health insurance rates single-handedly or as a group as a whole, you really get no sympathy from me. And I hope you guys find that I have addressed this very sensitive topic with the respect and dignity that it deserves. Actually, come to think of it, number 2 wasn't really the only serious one, because number 1 is the entry I forgot to put on the other list, and it was probably going to be around number 1, above cheaters even. It's the I'm too cool to have fun people. They made it to number 1 on this list. Now, I'm pretty sure my LGS isn't the only one to have a large group of these people, but then again, they kind of do come in groups. They kind of all imitate each other's attitudes and kind of throw their own little pity party together. But I have been to gaming stores and, other ones that are further away in special events where there was nobody like this, even in a larger group. So consider yourself lucky if you don't have this type. I've noticed that they're usually a lot younger too, because older, more mature folks stop acting this foolish at a certain point. Now keep in mind, this type of person isn't just personality-wise a shy person or socially awkward or just really reserved, or probably not trained at a Victorian-era British manners and social interaction boarding school either. It's just that in their own mind, they're too cool to be seen as getting excited over or having fun at something that society thinks is geeky or childish or whatever other ridiculous and inaccurate descriptions of MTG players there are. The equation that goes on in their head is basically, well, it's not the cool, popular people who play this, so it's like the reject, weirdo kind of geeky, smarter crowd that plays it, so I'm not going to be seen as having fun playing it, even though I am one of those smart, sort of geeky people, because that would mean that I'm, being one of them. I think that's what definitely goes on from a psychological standpoint. And I think society is a little bit to blame, obviously, because people sort of lump Dungeons and Dragons, all card games, everything to do with Pokemon and Adventure Time and just all of the geeky stuff into one giant stereotype of either really geeky little kids or people way too old to still be interested in these types of hobbies. I mean, even though it's pretty much only old people that play D&D, so I don't know where this came about really. That or simply people who are just weird, regardless of any kind of background, it's just the weird people. So naturally these people are here playing and enjoying MTG just like everybody else, but they aren't going to be seen as actually having fun. It's just such a chore to be there and it's just beneath them and, they're just there because they have absolutely nothing better to do apparently. Their attitude is basically an insult to all of us who are enjoying and having fun at an intellectual and, good, clean hobby, basically. When I pull a $40 rare foil, I'm going to get excited about it. I'm going to show it off to everybody. I'm not just going to be like, oh yeah, cool, that's awesome. I don't want to be here. When I just barely win a game in the third match, you're definitely going to see me smiling about it and telling people about it and telling them, hey, my ranking, I got a great record now. This is great. I'm doing great. But not these mopey, stuck-up douchebags. They could win a free car at Friday Night Magic and simply react like, oh yeah, that's cool, I guess. I already have a car, so, whatever. I guess I'm just here and I want a car or whatever. Now, playing against people like this, I purposely make double the amount of jokes about cards and funny circumstances in the game and the flavor texts and all kinds of puns and everything just to piss them off, because these people are actually trying their hardest not to laugh or smile or anything, and it's hilarious. I hate these people so much that I made them number 1 on this list and basically made this entire second video just so I could put them at number 1. But that didn't stop me from making another number 0 on the list. That's right, it's a top 11 list. Basically, when I was thinking of who does this at my FNM and who has this attitude, I thought of something even worse they do that pisses me off even more. It's the I'm too lazy to play the last round because we're all elitists and win every week anyway, so we're all just running the same overpriced net deck for the 10th week in a row and we don't want to play our mirror match people. I know the title's getting longer as we go, but you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, to these people, I just have to say, really, you both have perfect 4-0 records and you don't care enough about going 5-0 to actually play the last match. One of you will come in first, but who cares about going 5-0? They probably did it last week anyway. So it's kind of like you'd rather flip a coin and then basically go play against the exact same opponent anyway, but with a commander or modern deck, than actually play your standard deck. Now, net deckers ruin the games for themselves. I've said that before, and basically everybody around them as well. But it's not even that bad until they agree to split the packs they win. So I've had this happen. People are 4-0, 4-0. Nobody else has 12 points. Which, if you're not familiar with the point system, that's 4 rounds of 3 points, perfect score, basically. And they know one of the two of them is going to win, and one of the two of them is almost guaranteed to come in second, basically. Now, they know that if they finish first and third, or first and second, or something like that, it'll be 10 plus 6 packs. So what they do is they say, screw it, they each take 8 and call it a day. They don't care who actually wins, and this happens every single week at my FNM. It's just unbelievably aggravating. I mean, it's borderline cheating, really, because the winner is not even being decided, and the prize winners aren't getting the prizes. It's just split between a bunch of douchebags. So it is actually against the rules to determine the winner of a match any other way than playing actual games. That is in the rules. Now, somebody can forfeit at any time, of course, which is why the staff puts up with it, I guess. Plus, it's people who spend a lot of money at the store and just always show up, and same people that always have bad attitudes. They're just bad people. I wish they'd just stop showing up. But I always do very well at FNM almost every week, but nowadays it's pretty uncommon for me to just sweep, to just absolutely dominate with a deck. for probably about the last year or so. Let's see, when was Tarkir released? Let me think. Yeah, right about then. I run really creative, fun, effective decks that are very well built, and they can win, they can be competitive, but they can't compete with the 3-color do-it-all Swiss Army control aggro net decks. I mean, those are just, they're too powerful. They're in a whole different tier, and I just don't want to play that and turn into one of those people where I win, and stop caring. Plus, I have better things to spend my money on, like this beautiful new mic and this lovely windscreen filter, which I'm sure you're all glad I did instead of buying a net deck. That definitely improved things for everybody. The power level of Standard right now has pushed so many, like, medium decks out of any kind of competition that only the absolute highest power decks can win. Now, if you're just running a good deck, like a really well-built good deck, well thought out, you're just not going to go above 3-2. And I almost always finish 3-2 at every single FNM. So if my deck goes 4-0 or even 3-1, I'm playing that final match to see if I can pull off a win because I earned that. I mean, I obviously outplayed their better deck. So I could spend a ton of money on a top deck, pilot it perfectly, never switch decks ever, and win every FNM. It would not be that hard. I'm a better player than most people there. But I don't do that because it's not fun, and I have a lot more fun building new decks. You know, like I've always said, I like building decks more than playing. And the fact that these top players, as they qualify themselves, I guess, don't even want to play each other because winning is boring and playing a deck that you can't utterly destroy the opponent just is too much effort. You know, they want to just come in and just obliterate someone and feel great about their deck that they built that they didn't build, basically. They just copied and pasted it and then bought it. They're really just ruining the game. I mean, it's just another reason net deckers are ruining the game for everyone and themselves. The worst part is when new players see this, and it aggravates them so much. I've heard comments from them, so I know it's not just my imagination. They are thinking this. I know that I can win if I want to, and I don't really care if I do that much. I care if I make play mistakes, but I don't actually care about the results. If I played well and my deck did well and I went 3-2, I'm fine with that because I had fun and it's great, you know, whatever. And I got to play people who weren't douchebags, got to play the more medium players, so they're more fun to play against anyway. But new players just want to win to prove to themselves that they made it. I mean, they go 0-5 like all the time. I've seen people get just really excited about going 1-4. So if they prove to themselves that they are a decent quality player by actually winning a tournament or finishing in like the top 7 or whatever and getting a pack, you know, that's great. That's their goal. That's why they're there. So when they see people who are tied for first or they're guaranteed a top 5 spot or whatever, and they refuse to even play it out and just brush it off like it's not even that important and they don't care, it is extremely insulting to other players, or I should say to the new players, but really to all players, if you think about it. If it was me running the FNM event, I would tell those people to either play it out or don't come back the next week because obviously they aren't interested in playing and they don't care how they do. So why should they even be there? I mean, it's just insulting to everybody else. And, you know, I would only want people playing who actually give a crap about MTG and how they do. You know, that's who I want showing up to my events. And at my events, oh yes, we enforce that. I'd also, if I ran my own LGS, just execute cheaters on the spot. I mean, this is also like a post-apocalyptic wasteland where everything goes martial law. So, you know, we're going way off on this one. I'm already gone. You've already lost me. But it's definitely good that I don't host a Wizards Play Network location. I will say that. In fact, it's actually pretty much just a I can't say it. I still can't say it. A post-apocalyptic machete fight, except with decks. It's kind of like the Shadow games. This is like the 4th Yu-Gi-Oh reference. I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh and I hate the show. Why do I keep referencing it? Oh, this went off the rails. I'm telling you, this number 1 or number 0, whatever the hell we're on, it really pisses me off. It really does. So if you're any of the now 11 people on this list, try to tone it down a bit. If you're number 2 or number 1 or number 0 on the list, just go find another hobby. We hate you. And remember, as always, if this video deeply offended you at a base level, make sure you leave an offensive, hateful comment down in the comment section so that I can see it and ban you from commenting on my channel ever again. If you actually have a sense of humor, you might want to hit that like button, maybe hit the subscribe button, because we already have another top 10 listed, and this one's way better than this one. And I will see you guys next video.